Hi, folks. John Hecker here again, the pro at Brooklyn Country Club in Rochester, New York. Today I'm going to take you through some of James Siekman's ideas on how to develop a strong wedge game. So, a lot of players will have three, four, five wedges in their bag. I have four, so I thought I'd do it by that. So, you can see on the left, I've got the lofts of the club, the 43 representing a pitching wedge. And then the yardages they go, if you look at the top of the chart, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and a full swing. That's based on what I feel like my left arm is swinging the club back. So I've got kind of 10-yard increments for each shot here. And it's important to note at this point that this is how far the ball goes in the air. So depending on whether your greens are soft or firm, you have to factor that into the yardage you're hitting. But I found this to be pretty easy. It was a pretty easy way to learn it. It requires some work, some practice, and we'll talk a little bit of that as we go along here, how you might do that to develop these yardages. But okay, so I'm going to start off here the down the line view, and this is the 54-degree wedge that I'm going to try to hit 65 yards. And it was hard. I felt like I went back to 8 o'clock, but it was hard to actually hit it this short or take it this short. Now, the part that's cool about this is the ball tends to fly pretty low. So it would, people say, well, why not hit your 60 degree from 65 instead of your 54? Well, if it's windy, or in this case, if I wanted to get a little release on the shot, so I wouldn't be hitting as hard, the ball's going to get less spin and tend to release a little bit. So maybe if a pin were in the back of the green, I could skip it back there versus trying to fly it all the way back there and maybe risk flying it over. Things you want to notice about my swing here, it's somewhat of a rounded movement. I'm trying to feel like I hit a small hook when I do this. Now, when we go to the face-on view, things that I would feel here, the camera angle is not quite right here. The ball's really not back in my stance. It's really in the middle of the stance. My shoulders feel level, and I probably have 55% of my weight on my front foot, and it stays there. And I do that again to try to get a sweeping movement, but enough so that I catch a little bit of divot. You can see I'm clipping a little bit of divot. So this is the 65-yard shot. The backswing and the forward swing pretty much match up. So now I'm going to take you to the next distance. It's a little bit hard to tell really as you go through this. Trying to pick out the 10 yards. I can definitely feel it when I'm hitting it. Like on this one, I'm trying to feel like I'm going to 9 o'clock. Well, I went a little past 9 o'clock. But again, that's my feel to it. And I think the most important part is that you feel it right. So that actually looks somewhat correct. Then I'll have a little bit more follow through. So weight on your front foot, shoulders level, back to 9 o'clock, and basically through to 3 o'clock, I would guess, would be the feeling here. Now, as I got into the longer shots, I didn't quite see that as much, and I felt like my stance got a little bit wider, and my swing got a little bit longer. So here's my feeling of 10 o'clock. So it's a little bit longer. That's probably pretty accurate to 10, but my forward swing was a little bit longer. It's almost a complete swing. And I'm hitting this 85 yards with the idea that 95 would be my max for the club. And the down the line view, as I said here, it definitely feels it when you're practicing. You can feel the difference. So it's almost a complete follow through. But as I said, when I got into the final product here, let's say, that I could definitely feel like I could go a little bit further through and hit the ball. So let's go through that right now. So the full swing, again, almost the same swing as my backswing, and I did get a little bit more finish. So the 10 yards probably was created through obviously hitting it harder with more forward swing, but it definitely felt, as I said, it felt like I was swinging the club further, faster and further through. So bang, that was my complete swing. So hopefully these give you some ideas on how to control your wedges. Now, how would you practice this? Well, you could use your range finder on the range. We have those striped poles that are staggered apart that you could practice to those. I'd strongly suggest doing that. They do have some range finders, some less expensive ones like the Swing Caddy or the Flight Scope Mevo that will actually pound out the yardage as you hit it. It'll tell you how far it went. So good ways to do this. When you get inside, 120 yards or so, you really want to be hitting the ball on the green for the most part. And if you really get these yardages down, you can save quite a few shots. You hit the ball pretty close. As you watch the tour players, they get in those positions where they're in the middle of the fairway inside 120 yards. They're gonna hit the ball pretty close. So hopefully this gives you some ideas on how to improve your wedge play and get your yardages better with the 4 known yardages. And I'll look forward to seeing you out in the golf course soon.